My name is Natalie Hegarty. My first experiences working with time and time travel was way back in the 1990s when I first learnt to read tarot cards. And the spread I used had the past, present and future all existing at once. And I used to add extra cards on and take people further into their futures. And sometimes they would say to me, what happens if I choose to do this? So we'd put that one down, put extra cards on, and it would give alternative like futures and choices for them then. So that has been my passion for such a long, long time. The idea of time all existing at once and how your past relates to your present and your present can shape your future. After that, I decided I was going to do Reiki, and I did more experiments with sending distant healing through time and space. So again, you're connecting with the future you because you can send that Reiki energy to you in the future, which is always very beneficial. I've done inadvertent experiments with Reiki, I have to admit. One experience was I promised to send healing to two people at the same time. So I started doing the First Lady's healing, did all that and left her in a golden bubble because I thought I've got to do the other lady because otherwise she'll feel like she's missing out. Sent the healing to the other lady and I worked on her for 10 minutes, went back to the other lady and thought nothing more of it, just went about my business and my daily life. And then I caught up with the First Lady a couple of days later and she said to me, oh, you're healing the other night. She said, it was really lovely. She said, I tuned in at 9:30 like you told me to, sat down in a chair and I felt this lovely energy flowing up and down my body. And then she said, it was really weird. It stopped for 10 minutes. And then she said, and I was like, oh wow, that's a bit strange. And then she said, and then it carried on again. And it felt all lovely again. And, and I thought, wow, that's amazing. Something I've done has, had that effect and someone else has felt the benefits. And then when it stopped, she didn't feel anything. And then when I carried on, she did. And other things I've done as well with my Reiki, which is connecting with people through time and space, which proves to me that the energy of us can travel anywhere, is when I did my Reiki level 2, my Reiki master teacher gave me names of people to tune into, which I did. And I picked up one man giving him his Reiki, distant healing, and I could feel no energy from his legs downwards. And I thought when I was giving the feedback to my Reiki teacher, but how can I say to her that I felt no energy, like where his legs were? What if he's still got his legs and he's going to lose his legs? All these things go through your mind. And I said, I felt, this energy like missing around his legs. I said, but I did feel kind of a heavier, hotter sensation on the right-hand side. And she said, oh, that's really interesting because he'd just gone into hospital to have his right leg amputated and he'd already had his left leg amputated. And at the same time, when I was tuning into this man, I said, I picked up someone with like long brown hair and a biker jacket. And she said, yes, that was him in his younger days, really. But at that time when she knew him, she had no idea about that, but I thought it was something I needed to pass on. So to me, this fascination with time and how this energy flows was just growing and growing. And before I actually did my Reiki, I'd seen on the television a lady called Anne Jirsch talking about future life progression and how she'd worked with these two soldiers, and then she was taking people further in their lifetimes, 5-10 years in the future lifetimes, and the future lifetimes thing, I was like, wow, that is like amazing. It is like time travel for your mind. And for me, like a jigsaw puzzle as well, that was like another piece that I needed to add to my life of like puzzles and bits that needed to fit together. So I just straight away, I was watching Facebook a few years after that, and Anne popped up, and then it was like book on like the future life progression course, and that was it. I just did it. I knew I had to do it. It was just the right thing. And at that time in my life, I was going through a difficult patch. There have been other difficult patches, but at the time I was in a very unhappy marriage and I saw no way out of it. I was stuck, really, really stuck. Didn't matter what I did. There was actually no way to get out of that with the legal system, how it is, the help that was available, without being detrimental to my life and my children's life. So when I was on that course and I jumped from where I was now to 5 years in the future, and I saw myself in my own house with a dog running around the garden and my children bigger and they were happy, I was like, wow, I've got out, I'm happy. There's like hope for my future. And that was the thing for me. I now had that hope. I knew that my life was going to get better. It didn't matter where I was now, the future, however it was going to happen, because we just did little sessions. I knew that that was something to work on and work towards. And in the meantime, between doing the beginner's course and the advanced course, my life took another somersaulty turn with the beginnings of a divorce that lasted a long time. But I knew, again, that there was hope after that. So the advanced one, and in between as well, doing the advanced one and the beginners one, this is so exciting as well. I just loved the FLP so much that I decided when I got back home, I was going to take it out to mind, body, spirit shows in the area where I lived. Got my big banner up, booked my table, just went off, did loads of taster sessions for people, was doing talks and guided meditations, and the experiences that people were having, you know, when they went into future lifetimes, these random strangers were telling me the same things, and the people in the, you know, in the groups were like amazed. I've run workshops as well where people have come along and, you know, we clear blocks, because as well as like the time travelling as well, I like to do a thing where I'm doing my talks where I take people a little bit backwards, like in their lives, and maybe a couple of years, not too far, just so that them now can see how far they have improved in the 2 years, and if there's anything they want to change before they go to the future, to go and do it. And the overriding thing that I find with people who go into the future after they've been and taught to themselves in the past is they tell themselves, like, believe in yourself, don't have so much self-doubt, just get out there and do it and make these changes in your life. No procrastination, just, you know, go and do it. You can make it happen. It's like a whole world of possibilities out there. You know, for now, apparently this is one lifetime, this is one us. Why not make this life, you know, the best life you can actually have? And for me, this is what FLP does for me. You know, I've had a bad year this year, and I do tell people I've nursed my mother through cancer and lost my mum. Due to the divorce, I lost my house, and I also lost my dad suddenly, like overnight. So this year has been quite a traumatic year, but with the FLP, I can always dip into it and take myself forwards and know that there is, you know, a better future ahead for me. I've worked with people who have had writer's block as well. This is an interesting one. This lady from a domestic abuse background, she felt like she needed to get the words out. She was a writer. So but it was such a traumatic experience that had happened to her to kind of relive it again by writing it. You know, she just couldn't get the words out. So I worked with her. She saw herself writing this book. I asked her to describe the book cover, the name on it, and it wasn't her name, and the colours and everything. She saw blue and the name that wasn't hers. So working with her, clearing her blocks and taking her forwards into her future, she knew that once she got that out of her system that her life would pick up, and she has had her book published, and now she's taken it forwards to help domestic abuse groups and like child protection and that. She's asked to do a lot of talks now, so she's helping people, and she got over her writer's block, and that's like been significant change in her life. As well, like this year with me, when I've done experiments with myself and other people, quite often working in pairs as well, because there is good camaraderie between us all, so we can take each other on little journeys. You know, I was worried this year when we were going to lose our house, where was I going to live? And, you know, working with someone, I said, I need to know, take myself up, go forwards. And the house I'm now living in is the house that I saw back then, with an S in the name of the village, and the way I described it, little house, red bricks, red tiles on the roof, little pointy window and little pointy porch. And that's the house, and there's not many of them, you know, around that are like that. So, you know, even tiny little things like that. And for me, because I had my background in tarot, and it's like someone else is telling you your future and what's likely to happen, with FLP, it's so empowering because it's you telling you what's going to happen in your future. And that's what I like about it. So all the modalities and things that I use, they all work together and complement each other so well. So for me, it's like onwards and upwards on my journey. You know, I have so many plans, you know, and I know I'm going to make them happen. So no matter what happens in my life, if I can get through all this, come out the other side smiling, positive, and with hope and optimism for the future, you know, if FLP can do all that for me, you know, just an ordinary person, just think what it could do for loads of other ordinary people out there. So yes, thank you.